All right.
What do we use for the English language?
You always use your key. So always remember you're going to go dominant, dominant. Okay, so you're going to go black and rough, then black and smooth. Then white and rough, white and smooth. So you always go strong, 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 weak, weak, strong, weak, weak. You brain about to pop?
So it would be just like that right there?
So did you get 626? 6262, I should say. Don't you love that?
That was very cool.
Yay! That's pretty good, guys. Now, that's why I have the steps for you. Do you see where it, even though, just like anything, you did it with me, and then the first time you did it, now most of you, I would say 60% of you did just fine. Then a couple of you took some left turns, took a little thing, but that's not a big deal. You caught yourself. The minute I showed you where you went, you were like, oh, yeah, I see it. Okay? All right, feel better? Yeah. That is, you can work a dihybrid cross in 3 minutes and answer any question that you need to with that. Okay? All right, let's move to sex length, or is everybody good on that one? Yeah. Now you won't be afraid of dihybrids anymore. And you won't do that silly Punnett square ever again. Right, Carrie?
No.
Ever again. I'm going to get the test questions here. Whose pen did I borrow?
Fine.
Okay, because you know how teachers are. No, this is another one.
Oh, that's like a big pepper.
Yeah,
Square or triangular?
It's triangular. You know how teachers are. It gets in my hand, I'll just walk off.
Okay. I'm in a picture location program.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to have to really hustle here because I want to do this part right here with you. I think I've touched on quite a bit. And then I've got a little thing that'll help you kind of visually review. But I want to get to some of these test questions that are practice questions on here, just to help you a little bit. Okay, here we go. Sex-linked traits. Sex-linked traits mean they're carried on the X. Okay? So here's the X chromosome. All right? Yeah. Here's the Y. See how tiny the Y is? I know. The Y, yes, there's like a couple little genes on it, but for the most part, it just codes for maleness. All right? So when you see this right here on the XY, this is what an XY would look like. A sex-linked trait is mainly carried on the Y, X chromosome, sorry, not the Y. Therefore, a little rule breaker, we only need one gene in the male for this to be expressed. Okay, so in the male, either they have the gene or what? They don't. So they're either dominant or they're a carrier, okay, whoever says. Okay, now females, because they have 2 X's, because they have 2 here, they could have the trait or just be a carrier. All right? Okay. So we're going to pick Huntington's disease. Y'all know Huntington's disease? All right. Okay. We could also pick hemophilia. We'll pick hemophilia. We could do that too. Okay. All right. So it's different in this one. H for hemophilia, Leader's disease. It's usually a lack of clotting factor 9. It can be different other clotting factors, but lots of time. So we use a capital H for that. It means they have that trait. Okay. Whereas normal, it's going to be a small h. Okay, normal blood, normal clotting. Do y'all see the difference, how they do that? It's flipped. Okay, all right, watch this. So I take a female, okay? It's just normal blood, okay? She marries a man that's hemophilia, has it. Now, in this day and age, that can happen because why? We have, yeah, we have blood factor and clotting factor. Okay, so go ahead and cross it out. There we go. Cross it out here. There you go. All right, so here's the female. See, we have, this is a double cross, okay? And my men in here, we can do male pattern baldness. It works the same way. Mama gives it to you, sorry. All right, first thing we do is we cross the sex, which is 50-50 always. And then we're going to give, so what are my females? Carriers. See, they don't have the disease because they have normal blood. Okay? They don't have it, so my females are carriers for it. Okay? Whereas my males, what are they going to be? Normal blood. They're going to be normal. They're going to be good. So I have 100% normal males.
So my buddy that's hemophilic just had a son, so that means
It depends. Yeah, he's going to get his. If he's hemophilia, he can't influence his son. Can't give it to his son. So he's good. He's in good shape.
So his mom will have
His mom, if she's normal, unless she's a carrier, is she hemophilia? Okay, let's try this cross. Okay, let's try a mom. Okay, this right here, she is what? Normal, but she's a carrier. And her husband is normal. It's a normal male. So, let's see what happens. One egg could have the normal, the other one can have the hemophilia. And then there's normal. Okay, so same thing. Okay. All right, so,
Hey, sorry, can you slide it over?
oh yes. All right, so first female, she's going to be she's going to have normal. She's not even going to be a carrier. But my second female is going to be a carrier. My sons, I have a what chance? 50-50 chance of them having hemophilia. You see it's 50-50? Is it possible for females to ever have hemophilia? It's possible, but it's rare. Because you have to have a carrier and then a hemophiliac dad. So. All right, same thing with baldness. My gentlemen in here, do not blame your dads. The baldness gene is carried on the X. So look at your mom's parents and grandparents, because the baldness is carried on. So just because, like if your dad is completely bald does not mean you're going to be bald. Look at your mom's dad. Okay, that could play a role in it.
That's how they say it skips a generation.
It can. Mm-hmm.
That's where they get that from.
That's a different deal. It's
One
not
of my
carried
good
on.
friends, his son was born with spinal muscular atrophy.
Uh-huh.
You know much about that?
No, I don't. Not at all. All right, guys, look right here. Let's move on real quick since I'm at 3:20. We did this one already, mitochondria and chloroplast DNA. I'm going to talk to you real quick. I'm going to pull up my computer in just a second. How this can be tracked to tell you what animal or plant is related to who. Okay? And so, for instance, if I have animal A here, and you'll see this come up here, and it's a tree branch, and you've got animal B and C right here, and another animal D, and then it goes out over here and puts animal E. Who's closely related to each other? Who's the closest related on that? Yeah, B and C are the closest related because they're the closest to each other. Now, it used to be Linnaeus, okay, is the one that created the kingdoms, okay? And so we're going to do that real quick, okay? But the thing is that through the use of DNA, especially mitochondrial chloroplast DNA, not just nuclear DNA, we've been able to help what animal is more closer to another or what plant came from another. Now, how do I know they stemmed off of animal A? Because of how it matches up. Now, we used to do it just by characteristics, but once we started doing DNA and RNA, we were amazed. We thought alligators and crocodiles were so closely related, and guess what? They're not as closely related as we thought they were. Yeah, alligators and iguanas are more closely related.
Really?
Yeah. Chimpanzees are 99% us. Yeah, that's kind of amazing, huh? Okay, so this right here is a cladogram. I'm going to bring some up so you can kind of look at them, okay? This is towards the back part of your competencies, okay? Natural selection and genetics, basically this, okay? I'm flying through this real quick, okay? The stronger the gene, okay? Again, variation plays a role in this, okay? Variation, traits that lead to survival, okay, play a huge role in if that plant or that animal is going to be able to survive, okay. Now, one of the things that genetics plays a role in, okay, is food. The more varied the food an animal has, the better chances they have for survival. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Like there's a great example, if you ever want to Google this, Newman's wasp, okay? There's a lily that it actually has sex with, okay? The Newman's wasp has sex with this lily because it looks and it smells just like a female Newman wasp. So it copulates with it, okay? And the pollen hooks onto the abdomen of the wasp. And then, of course, he'll go to another flower and copulate. And when he does that, he places that pollen packet into that other flower. Does that make sense? Okay, well, that's great and everything, but that flower is locked into what we call a really narrow niche. What happens if that wasp gets eliminated? That plant's a goner. That's right. So genetics and survival come down to this. The more adaptable an animal is, comes down to the traits that allow it to live in different environments, allow it to eat different things. Okay, like Rhizopus stolonifer. I know I picked on that for a while, but that fungus does great, doesn't it? It can decompose even the tile in, if you put, you get tile in your bathroom and, mold will grow there, but if you get enough junk in there, Rhizopus will grow there too. It's a very, very adaptable fungus, okay? So that's kind of what we want to look at when you're looking at natural selection. Okay, now I want to tell you who selects. Natural selection is what Darwin was all about. Okay, everybody thinks it's about evolution, we came from monkeys. That is not what Darwin was about. Darwin was basically this. He observed that traits that allow one animal to outcompete another is going to be the animal you see. Does that make sense? Like, for one example, y'all are familiar with the islands, Galapagos Islands, right? Okay. There's turtles, huge, huge tortoises. One has a shell that goes up like this. So here's his little head. Woohoo! See him? It's cute, isn't he? Okay? All right. The other one has a shell like this, and there's his head, but he can't lift his head up near as high. This turtle lives on a very wet island. This turtle lives on an island that's very kind of drought, has a lot of cactus. Does it make sense? If you were to put this animal on this island, it would survive. But if you were to take this turtle and put it on this island, what would happen?
It wouldn't be able to reach food.
Yet both turtles are the same species. So why don't you see any of these turtles on that island? Because they die. Sure, that doesn't mean they're not hatched out. You just never see them because they don't survive. They can't compete. Okay, so that is natural selection. Okay, so what you need to remember is who selects. Just remember the environment. The environment is always the selector of who survives and who doesn't survive. That cool? Okay. Uh-huh. Tree frogs. They're a mutation. All of a sudden, wow, I can live a whole life up in the tree and never come down. That's a good thing, right? Because then I'm not eaten. That's exactly right. Well, they didn't think that. See, that's a problem. Students think that they, that the frog went, hey, I got sucker. But no, it was just all what? It's all accident. Okay. Very common example is in Europe when the industrial age came and the moths, which were really actually kind of a gray color, fit in, blended into the birch trees there. And then the industrial age, what happened? Turned all the trees black. Well, man, that's good picking for birds because I can see you, except there was a trait of a black moth. Well, you didn't see those because they got picked off. But when the trees got turned black from the soot, guess what? There's nothing but black moths. So that helps you understand. Remember, when they talk about natural selection, remember, who does the selection? Environment. Okay, now real quick, I am really hustling. That 10 o'clock starts killing me. Okay, ready? Okay, well, we already talked about this. Okay, here we go. 2 things. What do they all live for? Whoa, there we go. I'm on page 7. That's right, energy. That's right. Okay, good. Okay, now, and successful reproduction. That's the key. Successful reproduction means to produce viable offspring. Offspring that live. Yeah, it's not good enough to produce offspring that are food for another animal, but offspring that actually make it to adulthood. That's successful. Okay, so what you see in the kingdoms, if y'all remember how to do kingdoms? All right, King Philip crossed the ocean for great sex. He didn't come over for spaghetti. Come on, no man's going to go across the ocean for spaghetti. Come on, give me a roll, okay? So we got kingdom, phylum. This is Linnaeus' setup, and then it's been perfect because we've been able to expand it. Class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, and y'all know that genus and species make up the scientific name, yes? Y'all remember that? Some of you are like,
Homo sapiens.
Homo sapien. We're Homo sapiens because we're modern men. Yes, the first men are called Homo sapiens. Okay, for example, Lepus californicus. Okay, love Lepus californicus. Y'all know them as jackrabbits. Yeah. Okay, so it's Lepus californicus. Okay. Okay, now notice this. 1, the scientific name is underlined. Genus always goes first and is capitalized. And species is never capitalized. Watch out if they try to throw that at you and try to catch you. So the scientific name, genus first, okay, species second, genus is always capitalized, and if it's not written in italics, it's underlined. Okay? All right, so a great example is this kingdom is Oklahoma. Well, we could do Oklahoma State. Okay, the state of Oklahoma is our kingdom. The phylum is Oklahoma City. Okay? The class is teachers. Okay? The class is teachers. The order is health science teachers. Okay? All right. The family is the conference. The genus and species is this class. Do you see what did it do? We went from huge to what? That's right, very, very specific. Okay, that's all kingdoms do.
Can we call it Starless Biologicus?
Yes, we can do that, yes. Starless Biologicus. Hey, sugar, how are you? Want a woman too? Oh. All right. So does that help you a little bit? All right, good. Okay. So, domestic you'll see in front of like Felis domesticus. What's that tell you? Domestic cat. Very good. Okay. Iguana. I love those because they use the same thing. All right. So just anything, always look for, make sure it's written correctly because they'll get you on that. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. Let's do this real quick. Let's build an ecosystem. I did page 8 there for some extra. Let's do us an ecosystem. Woo! Slamming. Abiotic versus what? Biotic. Bio means living. Put an A in front of it, what? Okay, here we go. An ecosystem's got these two components. Abiotic factors. Oxygen levels, CO2 levels, amount of water, temperature, space. Will animals fight over space? Will plants fight over space? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, and we'll come up with more as we go. Okay. Now remember this. All of these abiotic factors have what we call optimal levels. Which means what? That organism or that
Temperature.
That's right. The best that they work on those factors. Okay, now what happens if these guys are limited? That's right. They can affect the population. So these can also be what? Limiting factors. So if you see limiting factors, they're talking about what? Abiotic. Okay, now some of the abiotic factors that we don't think about is like waste products, like ammonia. Okay, cats. We talked about cats, right? They're very carnivorous. They have very ammonia-saturated urine. In the wild, what do when they go to the bathroom? They dig a hole, they bury it, right? Now, they pee backwards. Do y'all know that, right? They're structured. You want to know this if you go to a zoo, okay? Because you can get drenched, okay? All right? They pee backwards. So if a female lion, well, it doesn't even matter, a male lion ever turn back like this, you just move out of the way because they can shoot that urine away, okay? We call domestic cats spring, okay? But they can, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the thing is that they spray it into the ground and then they do what with it? All right, they cover it up so that predators can't find them, right? Okay, but they can also use it for marking territory. All right, okay. But an ammonia waste buildup can be what for an animal? Sickly, right? Toxic, yeah. If you have a domestic cat, they don't like a dirty box. They don't because that can be sickly to them, okay? I think humans are the only true hoarders that, we see. Okay, all right. Biotic are living things, okay? That just means they're living. Okay, so let's set it up. Oh, we didn't put nitrogen in there, but you guys got it. Okay, let's draw some little pond. Okay. Y'all didn't know this is Art 101, did you? Y'all doing okay? How's your brains? We're doing the easy stuff now. This stuff's easy.
It's a pond.
Okay, let's do you a little tree. You want to do a tree? Here we go. Let's put some birds in the sky. There are little V's in case you've never done that. Let's put a little fish in here. You can make a little Christian fish if you need to. How you doing on your art? Alright, see, you didn't know you could draw this, eh? That was Canadian for you guys, a little Canadian. Okay, draw your little circle right here on the edge. Very good. Draw a little like this. Up here. Y'all are good. And then 2 bumps. There you go, there's your frog. See, you just thought you couldn't draw.
That must be a bullfrog.
It is a bullfrog. Eat those legs, don't you? Okay, here we go. Make you a little shell. A fun story to read that kind of helps you with natural selection and kind of how we place human behaviors on animals when they really don't exist, which is called anthropomorphism. Okay, is a book by Gary Larson. Do y'all remember Gary Larson from The Far Side? It's called "There's a Hair in My Dirt," a worm story. And it is such a great book. Okay, it's so funny. Okay, so Gary Larson, "There's a Hair in My Dirt," and it really kind of does help you with like in a very sick humor, which y'all all have. I already know that, but it is a great way to show you, how ecosystems really work and the sexual warfare of flowers. And then he's got those little quirky things like the, Ladybugs Anonymous. It has all the male ladybugs meeting, That's kind of funny. All right. That's good? All right, great. Okay, so what we have here is we have us a little ecosystem. Okay, so we've already talked a little bit about this. This is an ecosystem here, an aquatic ecosystem. And what are some limiting factors here?
Space and water.
Okay, so space, temperature. What do we learn about temperature of water? That's right, amount of oxygen. Okay, what would happen if fertilizer were to be dumped into here? There's a bunch of rain, it's early spring, everybody fertilizes their yards, and we get a huge downpour, what we call a frog choker, okay? And it hits the ground so hard that it actually washes your fertilizer off your yard, down the street, and into the playa. Why is that a bad thing if you get too much fertilizer in this water?
Takes the oxygen
The
away.
color.
You're going to have a huge bloom of plants, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, plants